Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Supatease here with another video, and in this one, I'm going to be going over the balanced Druid and everything you need to know about PvP in the pre-patch if you're looking to dominate some battlegrounds or some arenas prior to Shadowlands release, as it is a bit uncertain as to how long this period of time is going to be. You may want some advice, some tips, some tricks to try and have an edge on the competition. So let's just take a look at the talents here. In my mind, Nature's Balance is still the go-to, as it just allows you to immediately have a Star Surge to begin an engagement, which is your hardest hitting attack. So in all cases, I am still running Nature's Balance. Burst damage is very high now in the pre-patch because they've increased the usage of crit as a stat in PvP. It's now a ×2 modifier. So I have been opting for Renewal as an emergency heal. But in random battleground situations, it is a lot of fun to play Wild Charge and be able to reposition around the map and have that mobility. So you still have these options here. The affinities trees, you get a little bit of an extra bonus here with Incapacitating Roar and Ursul's Vortex from Resto Affinity. Again, because melee DPS are such a problem for a balanced druid when you're being attacked, I still prioritize Guardian Affinity as it gives you an instant heal through Frenzied Regeneration. And having Incapacitating Roar when a rogue uses Cloak of Shadows on you pins them away for a few seconds while and allowing you to escape, which was the old use of this ability now that it has returned. But if you were to run with a healer in 3v3, you could try to run Resto Affinity and make some healer swaps using Ursul's Vortex to pin targets in your solar beam, or to use this to kite. In general, it shares diminishing returns with Typhoon. That is now baseline, so I haven't opted to play Resto Affinity as much. I still prefer Guardian Affinity. If you're going to be going on a solo mission, Heart of the Wild now returning as a talent is still going to be a go-to, just enhancing that Guardian Affinity even further, giving you 2 charges of Frenzied Regeneration, almost guaranteeing that you're going to beat most melee classes one-on-one. However, in a 3v3 situation, you still likely want to run Mass Entanglement for an instant cast 8-second silence on the healer, or if you're in like 1v1 scenarios, you still probably want Heart of the Wild, but Bash isn't a bad option necessarily. Into the second rows, if you're expecting the fight to be very short, Incarnation is still a go-to. However, I was having a lot of fun with Star-Lord in my random battlegrounds, getting my haste up to a huge level and then just having a ton of dots out and generating astral power very quickly. And I just like the feel of haste, and Star-Lord received a buff, which is why I've been running it more frequently. Stellar Drift combined with New Moon, so you can run this build, I'll show you. Whenever you use Starfall, you can then move cast. It's fun, but it's not really that great. So just take it with a grain of salt. Your full moon hits about as hard as a Star Surge and has a really long cast time. This can, be fun, but after I played around with it, I just didn't feel like it was that great. So I opted to drop it for the old Twin Moons, which is just Moonfire does more damage. Moonfire is a good ability. You get more of it up and it does more damage. Can't really complain with that one. And then, of course, with New Moon here, I was opting to run Solstice. And the reason that I'm choosing to run this is because of the essences, which is now, in my mind, with versatility being very low, Conflict and Strife Major is not that great. Vision is much better, reducing the cooldown of your Celestial Alignment and also giving you a chance to basically randomly activate it. And when you randomly activate it, you'll get Eclipse, which is kind of this new resource system where you cast 2 Wraths, you get Lunar, you cast 2 Starfires, you get Solar. But when you trigger Eclipse, you get Solstice, which will call Shooting Stars down on all your dotted targets. And Shooting Stars is now baseline to Balanced Druid. So while you're running around on the map, just getting dots on all of your targets, you have a random chance to activate that in Celestial Alignment like this. And now my Solstice dots are going crazy. In random battlegrounds, I can get a Starfall down. However, if you are trying to prioritize damage to kill a target, you still want to be using Star Surge over Starfall, unless you were going to do that move while casting build, which in my mind isn't too fantastic. But with this vision, you can see how insane this new Eclipse system is. You just proccing it over and over, getting into Eclipse and generating a lot of astral power to maintain your Star-Lord at 3 stacks, or you can just manually activate Celestial Alignment as well and trigger that Solstice to start getting a lot of dots rolling on targets and keep pumping your Star Surges out, and you're going to be able to kill targets pretty easily with Star Surge. That's generally the gist of it and the build of it. If you have time, you can cast, but usually it's better to just keep spamming Moonfire and stay on the move. Unless enemy targets are crowd controlled, I feel like this is a more fluid playstyle than kind of getting stuck in the mud casting. However, if you are able to free cast, nobody's attacking you, it would be a good idea to prioritize your casted spells, going just back and forth in between the eclipses and trying to use your Star Surges when you are in an eclipse. However, with Vision of Perfection, I like just spamming dots to try and have a chance to fish for that proc. The honor talents I've started to run because Cyclone is baseline. Celestial Guardian, just really good synergy with Guardian Affinity, granting you a lot of frenzied regeneration heal and a lot of support from your teammates. I've been liking Fairy Swarm as extra utility instead of Cyclone because, again, you struggle when melee DPS attack you. Rep Paladins and Rogues are very good right now, so using Fairy Swarm to take away their weapons and 1v1 them is great. And also Thorns, because if you're stuck in bear form, you can't do too much. You can always drop a Thorns on yourself, and then that might get the enemy to stop attacking you, which means you can start casting. However, if you were going to be running into some 3v3, Moon and Stars has received a change where Celestial Alignment summons a beam of light at your target. Did they decide to not go with it? Right now, this was Eclipse in the beta. Looks like maybe they didn't decide to go with this, which means that this isn't going to be that great. I was just logging on the beta, and I thought that was going to convert over, but it looks like at the moment, so with Vision, this should proc, and as soon as we can get a Vision proc to go, the general goal of this would be to have Vision of Perfection proc. You'll get a summon and a circle on the ground, and then you can cast in it, yeah, like this. And then while that circle is down on the ground, you're not going to be interrupted, like, at all. If you get counterspelled like that, like in this circle, you really don't care. It's made this talent a little bit more competitive in that regard if you want to try and go for more of a hard cast build, but I've just been preferring the spam Moonfire build. Just an interesting little take on this talent. Another option, if you didn't feel like the disarm was 100% necessary, was Boomkin Aura to just get more crit, as it is pretty easy to get a lot of astral power with Vision of Perfection and get your Star-Lord haste going, get your crit going, and get this thing just stacked up. You have 3 Boomkin Aura, 12% crit, whatever this is in haste, 12% haste. You just get an insane amount of stats. You're bouncing around. You're having a good time like a Boomkin. Like this feels as good and as fun as some of the older pre-patch versions of Boomkin where you were just absolutely dominating people. It is a lot of fun at the moment, and this is kind of the general build that I've been playing. As far as like baseline spells, Stampeding Roar is back. So if you want some extra utility, you can use Stampeding Roar to sprint yourself and get yourself into bear form for some heals. I love having this back. Of course, Cyclone back baseline, so you don't need it as an honor talent. You can get a lot more of these cool honor talents while still having Cyclone as a baseline ability. And Boomkin is just in a really good spot. So I wanted to drop this quick little video for you, show you what I think of some of the new talents and what I've tried, give you an idea of some kind of cute and fun things you can do. But in general, just keep your dots up, try and trigger Eclipse. When you're in Eclipse, spend your Star Surges, get your stacks, get your procs, start bouncing around. Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. It's not complicated. Just start bouncing around. When your Eclipse ends, try and bounce yourself into a different Eclipse using the other spell. And then just bounce around, dotting people, hitting people. If you think you can cast, but again, I just like the spam Twin Moonfires, especially in Battlegrounds, to just get top damage and put out a lot of pressure and get a lot of Vision of Perfection procs. Other than that, I guess we should review just the other minors. Crucible of Flame does a ton of damage. You just generally want this. And it's easy to get. So if you're trying to catch up a Boomkin, this one's just like maybe an hour of quest. You'll have that one. Breath of the Dying, really good. Just again, this is just as an execute. It does an insane amount of damage. And then I've got Lucid Dreams because being able to reduce your Star Surges is really good. And then you can get more stacks of your Star-Lord, more stacks of your Boomkin Aura, and just keep pumping out more Star Surges. And I'm just a big Star Surge factory basically on my build. I run haste and I run versatility. I'm enjoying the Psych Shredder, just again for added dot damage and procs on targets for more instant cast damage. It's felt better in Battlegrounds than the Claw. Maybe in arenas, if you're really trying to like push rating right now in the pre-patch, the Claw is going to be better for single target damage. But in Battlegrounds, this thing was a ton of fun. I've picked up the medallion from the new Honor vendor, which is available from the High Warlord gear for about 800 gold. But if you really wanted to, you could probably drop it, pick up like a insignia for extra intellect, or even run double PvE trinket with an obsidian claw and try and get some damage out with that. But as a Boomkin, I feel like it is usually better to have a Gladiator's medallion. And then other than that, just haste versatility. Most of my gear from Mythic Plus or from Visions. Those are my main stats. I got a really nice just haste dense ring here from Mechagon, but it would be preferential maybe to have the N'Zoth ring instead of this, and just haste versatility. Azurite traits, because they still work, you're going to want Arcanic Pulsar. Again, just more Star Surge damage, and every 9 Star Surges you get Celestial Alignment, which gets you Eclipse, which gets you Solstice. Again, just farming as many Celestial Alignments as you can. Gory Regen, I like having one of this, which basically makes your Frenzy Regen last longer. You Frenzy Regen, you Mangle, and it lasts a little longer. You always want to make sure you Mangle after that. On My Way is a great just secondary, more versatility, obviously. Arcanic Pulsar, Power of the Moon for more Moonfire damage. Strength in numbers, really good. Just multiple targets are hitting you, you get a big boost of maximum health. This makes your Frenzied Regen heal a lot more, so I really like this as an Azurite piece. On my chest piece, again, Arcanic Pulsar, doing a lot of damage. Filthy Transfusion is just a proc dot. Again, just more instant proc damage like the Psych Shredder, and it also heals you a little bit. And more importantly, this one has On My Way versatility, and it has Impassive Visage for extra healing for myself. And I feel like I'm pretty close to all of the best gear that I would want to get with this build, aside from maybe slight item level and a couple of sockets here or there. And I've been having a lot of fun just in Battlegrounds, dominating. It's a super fun pre-patch spec at the moment. I would definitely recommend it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave it with a like. Comment down below what you think of Boomkin right now in the pre-patch. Think if I missed anything, or if you got a different idea than I do for a build. I would love this channel again to just be an educational resource for everybody, so we can all make the correct decisions in our gameplay. If you like this Shadowlands content, then please consider subscribing, as I will be uploading every single day. I have other videos and tier lists to help pick and sort of decipher all of the changes that are happening in Shadowlands as they go along, consistently uploading with updates, and I'll have those videos linked above here as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.